remember, are very brown, very small and compact, yet decidedly heavy and full-sized. AEG Compact Electronic 406. Crikey, that's a long word. Well, she's all done, she's all polished up, looking well, just a couple of final things to do under the hood, and it's ready to demonstrate and show you how this premium 1980s vacuum cleaner turned out after a full refurb. Let's have a look. Yes, hello, my vacuum cleaner chums. How are you today? Yes, in the mid to late 1980s, your money got you very far indeed. You got a really robust vacuum cleaner all in with a buttload of power, all the features you really need, and with a hierarchy in the range that really doesn't deserve to exist. We'll touch on that later. For now, we shall just marvel at the brownness of this machine. It's been fully machine polished. People often ask, it's literally a rotary polisher with a 3-inch spot pad and compound, and just polishing it like you would any other plastic part. It's why at this angle it looks really nice, but as soon as you look up closely, yeah, I mean, sort of wet sanding it all down, which, I mean, this machine you could, many you can't because there's decals. This is enough. It's an old Hoover at the end of the day that some of us quite like the look of, and yeah, I've always liked AEGs. We have the classic top expanding Legrand plug, which still has a bit of sticker residue on it actually, but the pins have been polished up and it looks very nice indeed. And yeah, this isn't the generation that has the slider, but obviously it's designed for a 2-pin Euro plug. That fits in there quite well. We have our spinny dial on the top, our light that will probably never ever be lit again in its life because this is never really ever going to have a full bricked bag, and the power head socket, which I'm sure we'll be able to plug something into one day. I mean, bar that, we have the Vario 2000 head, which is a bit baggy. I like these heads, but I think I like them more because I once used an AEG vamper as a child, so I was quite used to the head after this generation. They're not wearing well. Blimey, they're not wearing well, but it's good enough. We have our plastic fantastic ones, we have our plastic fantastic hose end, and then we have our black one of these, because yeah, as you remember, look, the original one, and the camera's not going to pick it up really, but the tools are ever so slightly brown by default, but this is black because it's from another machine. And yeah, this is what happens. Look, this is the original one, and most of those tabs are broken away, so it will never click in again, ever. So that can now go in the bin. We now have this one. I've already sold the hose that was with it, so that's good. We're all squared up. I've probably made money on this endeavour with that. And it's time to pop the hood and do the last little thing. Inside of here, obviously, we have no tool storage at all, so our lovely upholstery tool and Crevice nozzle can just go in the cupboard forever, really. And then we have these. What these are, they slot in, one goes in there, one's loose and floppy, it hasn't got a spring. I've only got one spring. Whether that is by design, which it very well could be, as we'll see in a minute, or it's missing and we'll have to go find one. I'm not entirely sure, but this one doesn't go in as easily. I'm doing it no, I'm not doing it the wrong way around. Oh, come on. Oh, the spring's getting caught on the bumper. There we go. Put you on there, put you on there. They are the original bag housing holders. And obviously now, you can't close the bag door because they get, well, I'll show you actually, because, note our nice brand new cut to size Miele filter, and there is an active air exhaust filter hot glued to the back of this grill where there was some coarse foam. To make those filters never get dirty at all, another Filter Magic product, VCP 0013, not sponsored, although if anybody from Filter Magic is watching, do get in touch. No, eBay and all of the HEPA flow bags for old interesting stuff like this generally seem to come from Filter Magic, so that's good. We only need one, so we'll take those out, and I've now got 5 HEPA flow bags. Yeah, I mean, they are just generic cheap HEPA flows, which is fine, but on the correct bag card. So what we can do is, and I'll peel this up a little bit so you can see, align the hole on that side, and then pull, align the hole, the hole on this side, yeah, and in theory, bag door closes. Oh, it ever so nearly goes up, which it probably would have done when we turned it on. And now we have a legit HEPA flowed AEG. Obviously, it pops off. This is why I'm never that fussed about taking these out completely and just sticking a HEPA flow onto that bit there. And that's all you really need to do. Again, you'll see more on that in a minute. It's fitted. We're going to drop the top down because I can't be bothered to take it off again. Every time you take it off, you must have to do that. Oof. And that is that. We now have a near 30-year-old vacuum cleaner brought into the 22nd and a half century with HEPA flowy stuff throughout. Marvellous. Right, well, this is going to have immense airflow now. Let's test that. Okie dokie, she is plugged in, ready to go, and I mean, the sound isn't actually that great. I mean, on low power it runs and has good airflow, but you need to go up a bit and then it smooths out. And then when you get to the full running speed, she's fine. I can hold it up with just my hand. And then the wind down lets it down a little bit. I think I may have tapped the top bearing on wrong. I keep looking at those bearing presses that you get, thinking I should probably get one of those. Yeah, I think I put the top bearing on a slight wonk, or just tweaked it as I have it at home. So a little bit of a shame, but again, it sounds absolutely fine. Certainly sounds better than the seized up fan case bearing did before. I mean, we'll go down to E for economy. Look, even 30 years ago, before we were all forced to go 620 watts, 650 was considered all you need. And having used AEGs like this before, it is all you need. I mean, it's fairly quiet, comes around, which you can go down to 500. And all of a sudden, we have ourselves a lovely, oh, this way, you go over there, a lovely, premium, clean experience. More power. Oh, even the floor head quite likes its rug. It's a bit stiff, as you can see. You definitely want the variable power with tools like this, because yeah, it'll be better low than if you went fairly high and it just clamps itself down. Like so. So yeah, that is the compact of AEG cleaners. But as we know, there was a whole range of these things. The bigger one of which was this, my AEG Deluxe Electronic 5 06, as you may remember from a previous video. Now, I'm going to get this out of the way first. I'm quite upset with this. Notice how it's doing that. I'm hoping it's in the loft somewhere because it's missing a wheel, and that's very annoying because I was going 12 vacuums, 12 months this, but can't until I find that, and it must be in the loft somewhere, but it's going to fall and roll somewhere. So this is only really going to be a static prop for today, sadly. But, oh, when I get them, yeah, stood up in shot, I mean, it's a little bit smaller, but not by much. It's literally pretty much the same width, it's pretty much the same girth. It's just the height and the fact that this one sort of tails off that pretty much differentiate this completely. I mean, we have tool storage, not that way, tool storage on this one with completely different and I would almost consider more familiar AEG tools. I don't quite know why they differed and changed, but they did. Certainly the crevice tools between them are very different because they have to be for the length. So yeah, we have tool storage built in on this one. We also have the normal way that I HEPA flow things with a Henley bag just stuffed onto there because this was missing those bag housing things completely, and judging by how much of an annoying fiddly faff that was, that's perfectly fine for me. We also get the fancy door. Oh, yeah, rather than just a big gaping ugly hole, look, you get a cover. Problem is, you have to shove the plug in so much, and this has been then tweaked by the cord reel clamp, but yeah, look, we have another Legrand plug, and that is not an accident. Every AEG that I've had or seen has had this Legrand plug until they went fitted, and that makes sense because these aren't British machines. These is more designed for a 2-pin plug, hence why, oh, slowly, it's a bit of a squeeze to get the door on, and they had to use those Legrand plugs because they were the only things that really fitted. So yeah, we have, oh, smashy, two pretty much identical machines, same motor, same cord reel unit, same power. This one has the little twisty knob, which is much more familiar. This one has the ever so slightly broken piano keys and actually 100 more watts. But the economical 650 is still there. And the similarities don't end there because this is the bag that I keep all of the tools in. We have the self-same identical hose bar. A slight difference in that look. Other than that, the only way I can tell these apart is that this is black and now square. I haven't noticed that before. And the other one is round. We have a actually more battered and worn out example of the Vario 2000 than the one that came with the compact electronic, but exactly the same head. Just, yeah. This one's a lot more worn out than the other. And we have, although I've dismantled them a little bit, telescopic, you go on there, that twists on there, telescopic extension tube. Although again, I used the word telescopic in its loosest sense. I think what it really is you can collapse it for storage because unless this has aged badly, the only way to do it is to just untwist the whole thing, push it down, and then twist that back on. So I think by telescopic, they mean you can set it to your exact height and then just don't ever touch it again. Which makes sense. I think that's fair enough. So, yeah, really, the more expensive cleaner, no, sorry, the cheaper cleaner, the more expensive cleaner, but pretty much identical, just like Hoover and Electrolux always used to do. I best see how similar these two sound as well. See if I mess the bearing up in this one too. Here we go then, they're both live and ready for action. Blimey, this is probably the thick end of £500 worth of machines. Back when £500 was probably worth £1,500. And we can start off, in theory, on the same wavelength because yeah, they both have the eco mode, and because of that we may as well start there. So yeah, this is our new one. With its bearing wind down noise. I can't remember what this sounds like. much better. This one has slightly more power as well. I mean, obviously this one has more settings. 250, 500, which doesn't work, but that's 250. That's all 500 is. 700 and 1100. Which is a bit more exciting than just your spinny knob. Both seem pretty much identical on full power as well, and I did forget that this one, again for the economical drive, even back in the 80s, if you put that on 750, as soon as you turn it on, the on button is linked to the economy button. I had to put the little rod back in and it will just push it down regardless, and every time, just like a modern day, no not modern day, slightly older Henry, not really old, not even middle-aged I'd call it, but you know, the autosave Henrys, this did it before. This didn't have a PCB to break either, which is nice. And yeah, it's not often that we get to see, ooh, yeah, you have a lead, two identical vacuums, certainly two vacuums from the same range, certainly two vacuums from the same range in an 80s AEG, which isn't the most common vacuum either. So tell me, what's been your experience of cleaners like these? Have you ever had them? Do you remember them when they were current? Do let me know down below, and hopefully by the next time you see this this one, I would have found its wheel. This is how similar they are. Holding these, not really looking at anything, they both feel the same, they're both the same weight, you hold them in roughly the same way. I'm just looking at two identical hoses coming off of them now. It's interesting, isn't it? What do you think? Obviously Hoover and Electrolux did this as their entire range. I guess it makes sense that other manufacturers did as well. But until the next time, I and these basking brown beauties will see you soon. Bye bye.